So, you might have noticed, if you're paying attention to my Twitter, that I'm sick. And I have been for about a week, which is probably because I haven't taken any medicine. So, it's all my fault. I like to think I'm genuinely a good person. I'm considerate most of the time, and I'm polite most of the time, and I'm kind most of the time. The thing that gets me into trouble is my temper. Certain things crank me up, and then I just lose control of my mouth. Say things that I later regret. Really regret. Which brings me to my family. I've talked about them a little bit before, but this time, God, this is going to be hard. This time, I'm going to talk about why Toonie and I don't get along anymore. We were really close when we were little, and even that gap, or whatever that happened when Toonie went to high school, it really wasn't that bad. And then she got married, and even though I wasn't Vernon's biggest fan, we still talked on occasion. And then I started hanging out with Sev. Don't get me wrong, family is really important to me. And I believe you should listen to them and forgive them, no matter what. But some things are harder to forgive than others. Toonie and Vern didn't like Sev. They thought he was weird, and they said rude things about him in front of Mom and Dad, which was irritating, but Mom and Dad took their opinions with a grain of salt, so no harm done. At the time. See, every time Vern would make fun of Sev's clothing or his interests, basically behave like an average bully, I called him out on it. I told him to stop. Sometimes he did, which is how I wanted to handle the situation. I wanted to remain calm and objective and not antagonize anyone. I understood that my family's opinions, especially Vern's, did not always match mine, and I wanted to be cognizant of that when I confronted them about these sorts of things, because responding to hate with more hate just makes things a whole lot worse. It keeps escalating and escalating until you are suddenly the Montagues and Capulets or the Tudors. It just never ends well. Most of the time, everybody dies, and who wants that? Well, when Sev and I received our acceptance to Hogwarts, we went over to my place to celebrate. Toonie was there, and she was upset. She really wanted to get into Hogwarts, but she didn't. She even wrote to the dean, asking if there's any way that she could be accepted. He was really nice when he told her no, but it still broke her heart. So maybe going to my place wasn't the best of ideas. She said some things, and then Sev said some things, and eventually she told him to take his fag self out of her house, and that a freak like him had no place talking to her sister and polluting her. I'll admit that what I did was not ideal. But as I said, my temper gets the best of me sometimes, so instead of telling her it was none of her business who my friends are, and that she should apologize, I may have called her a stupid bitch, and that sort of ignorance was the reason she was rejected in the first place, and that with an attitude like that she had no business applying to Hogwarts, let alone attend. I'm not proud of what I said. It came from the just motivation to stick up for my friend, but insulting her means I was just as bad. I don't condone this sort of behavior at all. I mean, that's why I'm talking about it as if it were some immoral act. And no, lashing out is not immoral. But what I did to Toonie was so much worse. I knew she was hurting, and I said it anyway. It was mean and cruel, and it was just awful. I wish I could take it back.